Hey, everybody. We have arrived. The World Cup is here. Starts on Thursday down in Mexico City when Mexico will be playing host to South Africa. I'm Bruce Marshall. We're going to be talking about all that for the next several weeks. But right now, let's talk about Group F, which will be kicking off just a few days later. I've got a little preview of Group F for you, which we'll get to in just a second. First of all, though, quick housekeeping reminder, as usual, don't forget, click that subscribe button on your screen there. Make sure you get all of our Wager Talk TV videos. Also, special offer here, and it goes through Thursday this week, through June 11th when the World Cup starts. But that's our World Cup All Access pack, and that's all of my World Cup picks all the way through the final, July 19th at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, just $149. And that's for my all access pack. And remember, that offer is good just through June 11th when the World Cup starts on Thursday in Mexico City. Okay, let's talk about Group F here. And I like this group a lot, mainly because the Netherlands is in it. We talked about them in a previous video about teams to watch. As you can see on the crawl at the bottom of the screen, the Netherlands is joined by Japan in this group. They are joined by Sweden, and they are joined by Tunisia. Netherlands is the betting favorite in the group to win, as expected. Not prohibitively so, only about minus 138 or so as the top pick. Japan at plus 300, Sweden plus 450, and Tunisia plus 700. I think it's a pretty good price on the Dutch to win the group. I'll get to that more in a second. First of all, let's talk about Holland here in the World Cup, and it has been a mixed bag for the Dutch over the years, especially since the mid-'70s when they first became a real contender. And that great side in '74, the total football side, the Johan Cruyff side, lost that final to West Germany, and that began a trend. 3 times now, the Dutch have lost in the final of the World Cup, and each one was a little bit more painful than the previous one. The Cruyff loss, when Gerd Muller scored the goal right before halftime, West Germany held on 2-1. 4 years later, Cruyff wasn't there. But down in Argentina, very hostile environment in Buenos Aires, and a great match against Argentina that the Dutch almost won in the last minute of regulation when Robbie Rezenbrink hit the post. He shook the gate 6 inches the other way, and he scores a goal. He'd be a hero forever, and the Dutch would have been a world champion. Instead, they lose in overtime 3-1 to Mario Kempes in Argentina. And then in 2010, down in South Africa in Johannesburg, a bitter overtime loss to Spain, 1-0 when Andres Iniesta scored about 6 minutes away before going into penalty kicks. So this has been kind of a poison chalice for the Dutch. They flatter to deceive. Are they going to break through? I mean, they've only been one time. That was the 1988 Euros where they've actually won one of these things. They're certainly due to win a World Cup. Do they have a chance this time? I think they do, although they're not rated as one of the very top favorites to win. I think they've got a chance to make a very deep run here. Ronald Koeman, and the manager, a veteran, great Dutch player in his day. He's managed a long time. This is probably going to be his last rodeo as a manager. He has a pretty good connection with this team, and I like the mix they got. It's sort of a beguiling mix they have of veterans and youth, guys who have accomplished a lot at club level and have come very close at the international level 4 years ago, or 2 years ago at the Euros. The Dutch got all the way to the semifinals and lost a very, very bitter decision to England there 2-1. Now, what do we got here? We talked about some of the veteran presence they've got there. I love it on the back line there with Virgil van Dijk. He's still got some gas in his tank. Liverpool, one of the best center backs in football for the last 10 years. Van Dijk anchors the back line there. Out at fullback, I like Denzel Dumfries a lot. He bombs upfield expertly, does this for Inter Milan. He had a very good run in the Champions League last year. He's got Champions League success. Van Dijk has won the Champions League before in 2019 with Liverpool. So you've got some guys who have some real experience on the biggest European stage. Midfield, a lot of veteran leadership there. Frankie de Jong from Barcelona and others. So they're set at midfield. They're set at the back, and that's why they were so good in the qualifiers. They didn't lose a match in the qualifiers for Koeman. Some games looked a little bit better than others, but very steady because that mix, like I said, of veterans and youth really works. The question we have is up front, and who's going to be the target man? Memphis Depay has been there a long time. I just don't know if he's a top-level striker we can count on in a World Cup. I'm not sure we can say that about Cody Gakpo either. He could score goals. We did see him score in the Euros as well. and he does score at times for Liverpool. But I think if there's going to be a target man emerge here for the Dutch, it's going to be Daniel Malin. And this year, the emergence Malin did after the January transfer window, moving from Aston Villa to Roma in Serie A, what a move that was for him. In 20 matches for Roma, scored 15 goals. I mean, that's a Harry Kane-like pace almost. And if he can replicate that for the Dutch, that could solve what they're looking for up front there. I think he's probably a pretty good bet to be their top scorer at plus 350 to be the Netherlands' top scorer. So keep an eye on Malin as well. What about the Dutch in the tournament here? I think that minus 138 to win the group, that's not too prohibitive a price, but I think they're the class of this group, and I think they will win. I also think they advance. The knockout phase looks pretty good up to the quarterfinals, where it would be France or Germany. Now, probably France or Germany. Let me qualify that. If the form chart holds, France and Germany would probably meet in the second round. The winner there would be facing the Dutch if the Dutch win their group and advance to the quarters. You get a plus 160 on Netherlands to get to the quarterfinals. I think that's a decent bet, and I think they've got a shot, no matter who they play in that round, to go a little bit further. The semifinal round, if they can get that far, you get a plus 375 on the Netherlands. I think that's a pretty good wager as well. One other one, finish 1-2 in the group in front of Japan. That returns plus 275. Not bad there. So I think there's some options here with the Dutch. I would really watch them and have high hopes for Ronald Koeman to really get this team making a deep run, maybe all the way to the semifinals. And who knows when we get there? It's game on at that point. We'll see what happens. Now, how about Japan? Consensus sort of second pick. And there are a lot of people who think Japan might win this group, and there's good reason. We've got to be to the point now where we're not surprised when Japan knocks off a big brand name. In Qatar 4 years ago, they took out Germany and Spain in the group phase. Within the last 7-8 months in international friendlies, they have beaten England and they have beaten Brazil. So they have claimed some big scalps. This is a very established squad, technically sound, and their manager, Hajime Moriyasu, has been there. This is 8 years now. He came in right after the World Cup 2018. So they're very, very established. They're technically sound. It's not a surprise if they beat anybody. There are a couple things I'm worried about here. One, maybe their most important player, their midfield pilot from Brighton in Spain, and that's Caro Mitoma. Hamstring injury. He is out. He got hurt right at the end of the season for Brighton in a match against Wolves. He's out. So the guy running your engine room is not going to be there. They've had some other injuries to worry about as well. What I'm really worried about here with Japan, though, is if the form chart holds and they go in as the second place team to the KO phase, they get Brazil right at the top of the KO phase in the second round. And Brazil would be looking for revenge after losing that match in Tokyo last October. They'd be favored. I think that's where Japan goes out. That's why I think Japan, the best bet for Japan might be to be eliminated at the round of 32. I know a lot of people think they can go deeper, but if this is a matchup against Brazil at the top of the round, I'm taking Brazil there, and I think Japan probably goes out. Also, again, don't forget 1-2 in the group with Netherlands on top, Japan 2, plus 275 there. Ayase Ueda, top scorer for Japan. Listen, this guy scored 25 goals in 31 matches in the Eredivisie for Feyenoord this year. The top scorer for Japan, good price at plus 275, so I'd look at that one as well. How about Sweden? What a story here. A bad qualifying campaign. Really, they didn't win a match in qualifying campaign, so how do they end up here? Well, they were able to enter the playoff phase in UEFA for the last few spots because of their performance in the Nations League last year, and that gave them a pass-through to the playoff stage, where they knocked off Ukraine and Poland. That's only part of the story, though. They made a managerial switch in October, bringing in Graham Potter right after he got let loose at West Ham in late September. Less than a month later, he's picked up by Sweden, and for his directive was get us qualified and do it in the spring, and darned if they didn't do it. And he got rewarded with a long-term contract through 2030. So good for Potter there. He made some adjustments. He went with the 3-4-3, and he had to make some adjustments there. Alexander Isak was hurt, the striker from Liverpool. He had the knee injury. He and Victor Gyökeres weren't really meshing when John Dahl Tomasson was coaching them in the qualifiers. With Isak out, Potter goes to a 3-4-3. Kind of isolate Györkis up front. Györkis looks really good. So the question here is, what is Potter going to do now that Isaac is ready again and he's got Györkis there? So Sweden, I think, has a good chance to at least get through to the knockout phase, probably because there's a team they can beat at the bottom of the group here, and that'll be Tunisia. I think they can get in as a third place side. I don't think they go further than the top of the knockout phase, though. That's why I think maybe the best bet for the Swedes is elimination at the round of 32 at a plus 137. Györkis, leading scorer, plus 175. I think that's a pretty good price as well. How about landing right on 4 points, which I think is possible, plus 275 there, but it's that elimination at the top of the KO phase, which I think is the best deal for Sweden. Which brings us to the end of the group here, and that is Tunisia. The seventh time a charm for Tunisia. This is their seventh time in the World Cup. They have yet to advance into the KO phase. Unfortunately, I say no. The qualifying stage was interesting. Equatorial Guinea, their top competitor there, was penalized and had points deducted, so they were kind of out of the mix there. And Tunisia didn't allow a goal in the qualifiers. It's a very dour side, very pragmatic. But don't get too carried away by that, because in AFCON last December, they were out at the group of 16. They did not fire in AFCON there. They've got 5 managers they've had in the last couple of years since the last World Cup. Sabri Lamouchi is in there now. Used to be a French international. He was fired twice in the Saudi League last year, so they are just rolling the dice. They are tough to play against. They are very rigid defensively, but there's no creativity on the Tunisian side. They're not going to score many goals. That's why I think under 3.5 goals for them in the tournament is probably a good deal. The price is prohibitive there at minus 188, and it's also prohibitive on them failing to get through to the KO phase at minus 175. So we don't have too many good prices to look at there with Tunisia, so I might maybe steer clear. Perhaps exact points. I think they can probably get a draw in the group somewhere and land on 1 point, get plus 300 there. So we'll see. Anyway, it's going to be the Dutch, I think, in this group, and we will see what happens. Okay, don't forget, if you got comments, let me know on the comment screen there. I'd love to hear from you. We'll be back with more World Cup videos as the tournament gets closer. So until next time, that's a goodbye from me.